To discuss this more, we requested Raymond E. Vickery, former U.S. Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Trade Development and Senior Associate at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, live from Washington, D.C. Thank you so much, Raymond, for joining us on this broadcast. Well, my first question to you is, Raymond, as any country who has the G20 presidency would expect, how can India also leverage its G20 presidency to boost its trade relations with major economies?
Well, thanks for having me. I think that that's exactly the right question to be asking, and it's a tremendous opportunity for India. India is known as a country committed to multilateralism and to inclusiveness. Unfortunately, throughout the world today, there's the opposite trend going on, and that is toward protectionism, toward trying to do everything within one country. So for India, being the fastest growing major economy in the world and the head of the G20, at the same time, it offers a tremendous opportunity to restore the kind of faith in the multilateral system economically that has been on the decline. I think it's going to be particularly important that India will show its leadership in restoring some faith in the WTO. The WTO has been moribund, and it's absolutely a time for leadership in that area. There's also a concept called friend sourcing, and that is that nations which are committed to the rule of law, committed to having a rule-based economic system, can work together more closely than authoritarian countries such as China, where India has grave concerns in the geopolitical area. So I think it's an opportunity to do that. And as you have seen recently, both Canada and UK have put the brakes on their bilateral trade negotiations. And I think Prime Minister Modi is an excellent diplomat, and it's an opportunity to get those kick-started again and lead them to a very positive conclusion.
Raymond, also very important critical issue that the world faces right now, which is the rising food prices post the Russia-Ukraine conflict. What role can the G20 play in ensuring the global food security, you think?
Well, I think India has a great role to play there. As you may recall, when the agricultural ministers met in Hyderabad in June, the very first item on the agenda was to restore the trade grain agreement, which had been worked out with the United Nations, Turkey, and Russia, so that there wouldn't be a stoppage of exports. Unfortunately, Russia has backtracked on that. So I think it's time for India to show some leadership to try, along with the United Nations and Turkey, to get that going again. That'll be very, very important to nations in Africa who have gotten a lot of their grain shipments out of Ukraine. And India, as a leader of the global South, has special leverage with those countries. And so I believe it's going to be an opportunity to get that restored. Beyond that, India has taken initiatives which I think are very important. One has to do with sustainable production of grains which have been disregarded in the past, millet and so forth. The other is leveraging the information technology expertise which India has in greater measure than almost any other country in the world, save perhaps the United States, to have transparency in markets and apply information technology so there is the fluidity in those agricultural markets that's necessary to promote growth.
While you While you did touch upon this a little while back, you did speak about the geopolitical tensions and the WTO. Do tell us, for the sake of our viewers, and explain to us that in the face of these geopolitical challenges, what specific reforms does the G20 envision for the World Trade Organization?
Well, right now, WTO is at a standstill, and a lot of it has to do with dispute resolution. And I'm afraid that my country, United States, has been in part responsible for that. But there has to be a compromise worked out so that there is some enforcement of the rules. You can't just have people say, yeah, we're all in favor of the WTO, but when it comes to actually following the rules, whether it be in regard to subsidies, non-tariff trade barriers, just to go their own way. And the key to that is restoring the dispute resolution system of the WTO. So that's an area of reform. There have been those who've said that the appellate body at WTO has overreached and has taken national prerogatives away. Well, I don't believe that's true, but G20, with the heads of all of these nations, heads of government, is an ideal forum to work that out so that the WTO gets international trade going again. As you noted in your opening segment, the G20 has 75% of all world trade among its nations. So this is the place to be able to get some sort of consensus on the WTO and make it truly a multilateral system again.
Right. Points well made there, Raymond, and thank you so much for that detailed analysis of this particular subject and giving us your views on this. Thanks for joining us on this broadcast.
Thanks for having me.